All right. Welcome to our podcast. This is my first ever podcast on my side, introducing Thomas Fujii, and welcome to my podcast, Thomas.
Well, thank you very much, Leslie. It's an honor and a pleasure to be part of your podcast today. Thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you. So, just a little background: we're working on our what we call Project Forward, and we're doing some podcasts. We're doing some we're marketing and branding, those kinds of things. I've developed a group in Messenger with a couple hundred of us. So Thomas is part of that, and we're helping keep each other accountable and doing some interviews as part of the process. And so I apologize for this guy behind me, but he's my background image. But over to you, Thomas. So you introduced yourself. So tell us what you do as your primary occupation.
Okay. Well, I am a stay-at-home dad. I have two kids, a 4-year-old son named Tristan, and a 6-year-old daughter named Abigail, Abby for short. Nice. And when I'm on Zooms or meetings or whatever, they like to jump in and get to know people I'm having a conversation with, and I let them be part of whatever I'm doing in my job. So if I'm going to look at walk a property for a house, I bring them with, and they help me out looking at stuff, and I tell them what's going on, what we're doing, and everything. And then if it's a Zoom meeting, I kind of introduce them to everybody. Yep, exactly. So I'm basically a stay-at-home dad, and I play in real estate in between being a father, husband, and doing my health stuff, because I'm doing a reset recently, so I'm working on my health, improving relationships, and working more in my business.
Very good. I like that. Well, congratulations. That's awesome. Especially bringing kids, because get them started early. I always try anything I start learning at this age, I try to pass on to my kids too. So like, hey, get your jump start.
Yeah, exactly. I want to have them enjoy what and so don't want to ignore them.
So Thomas, tell me, what caused you to look into creative financing opportunities in creative real estate?
Okay. Well, my journey actually started just before the pandemic started. Back in 2018, my father passed away and left me his condo that he inherited from my grandma. And it was a condo built in 1973. And after he passed in 2018, nothing was done to it. So I renovated it, put some money into it, and I sold it after getting 19 offers on opening weekend. And we got an offer for $390,000 cash, closing in 10 days with no contingencies. So put in $91,000 to renovate the whole thing, brand new everything. And made, after agent commissions and everything, I made $265,000. So not knowing how to do it or what to do or documents needed, I just jumped in because I had to, right? So living in Las Vegas, I had to drive out to Montebello, California, which is like 10 minutes away from downtown Los Angeles, every other week to do what I needed to do. And if I can make that kind of money, I chose to I gave my notice out of Allegiant Airlines and decided to jump in and invest in my education and in myself to learn real estate. Nice. And about a year later, I was invited to join SubTo, and I joined. And next thing I know, I had an opportunity to partake with the Gator method. And so I did that. And now I'm an Alpha Elite Gator. I belong to I'm a SubTo community member, family member. And that's basically how it started.
Awesome. How long have you been in SubTo?
I've been in SubTo for about 2 years now.
So you're an OG, man.
Almost. I had one of the OGs invite me in, so I'm like the second generation, I guess.
Wow, that's cool, man.
And so I am working on my first creative deal.
Cool.
I'm getting more traction in the Gator side, where I'm doing small business bridge loans. and using cross collateralization on those loans with the friends I've developed relationships with where they need help.
Very good. Very good. Congratulations. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. So what is your 1-year goal with your creative finance hustle here?
Well, my 1-year goal turned into 2-year goal. Ran into a few hiccups in my life where I had to put things aside for a little bit, especially this year. So now, last half of this year, I'm more motivated to work on getting a fourplex somewhere and putting that in to one of my kids' names for their generational wealth, and I'll manage it. So my goal is to try to get a couple fourplexes, one for each child, so they can have that generational wealth going for them when they get older, and I'll manage everything. But that's my goal for right now, is to get them something for their future.
Awesome. Love it. All right. What have you learned so far?
Oh, I've learned a lot. What haven't I learned? Well, currently, I am working on the top tier underwriting. So I'm watching all those courses to take the assessments to see if I can actually get in with Bo and do that. I've come to the realization that I can structure deals creatively without any training yet. So doing these small business bridge loans, I have to think creatively and outside the box to find what they can use as collateral for the loan I'm helping them out with. And one was a business asset, and well, both of them are business assets. One, I have 2 loans I've done so far as small business bridge loans, and just structuring those out where it's beneficial for both me and a win for the other person. So I have a property in as collateral, and then I had a business asset on the other one that far exceeded the loan, but he was willing to put that up for collateral for the loan I did. So learning how to deal structure is what I'm working on right now,
Cool.
and that's transitioning into underwriting. So that's what I'm currently working on. What I've learned so far are the different creative methods to use when we talk to homeowners. So that's another thing I've learned. Another area is getting the systems and processes down to actually have a successful flip, if you're planning to do that. So the first thing I did when I joined or jumped into the real estate is I joined the Fortune Builders Mastery Program. And that basically helped me learn what I didn't know on my first flip with the condo I inherited. So now I know all the systems and processes, all the documents I need for contractors, scope of work, all that stuff that is required on a fix and flip from beginning to the actual end of getting paid from the escrow company, from the buyer.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So do you find an overlap with the Fortune Builders and SubTo, or how do you find those coming together?
Not really. The Fortune Builders is mostly acquiring assets through traditional cash ways, where you get a private money lender or hard money lender to fund the actual project. Whereas the creative way, you're actually working towards taking over the mortgage and having the homeowner as a bank, if that works out that way. But basically just taking over the mortgage payments for the homeowner and you taking the deed. So a little different, the strategy for creative is more likely to rent it out for the long-term, short-term, or mid-term, whereas fixing and flipping is mostly for reselling or doing the BRRRR method. So,
makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, good. I was, because that was a new one to me whenever you introduced that on our first conversation. So.
Okay, yeah.
Glad to hear kind of the difference and where that came in. So it's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome.
Great question.
Yep. So let's take the bigger pockets approach and ask you about your top 4 books that have shaped your life so far.
All right. Well, Les, just like you, Rich Dad and Poor Dad is probably the biggest one. That kind of started the mind shift change for myself. Right. The next one is, I believe, by Ivers, Millionaire Mindset. That worked on the mindset for the money block, limiting belief on money. And there was a chapter in there about having that money block in your mindset. So that helped me out. Another one is by a friend of mine by the name of Dusty Stobbs. He has a book called the Seven Acts of Courage.
Okay.
That one helped me out to be more self-confident to have those hard conversations with people. So especially in personal relationships, business relationships, there's going to be those conversations that are kind of hard to actually talk about. So that book helped me find the courage to have those difficult conversations with people.
So I have
another one.
What was that book again?
Seven Acts of Courage.
7 Acts of Courage.
7 Acts of Courage. Bold leadership for a wholehearted life.
Okay.
That's the book.
Cool.
So, yeah, look at that, buddy. So Tristan's in the office now, so you'll be walking around. So, but the fourth one, geez, there's a lot of them. I'm gonna probably say, it's really hard to say. I don't know, probably The Closers, a book called The Closers, kind of helps out with the way you use different closing approaches in your sales technique or service technique so you can get that service acquired.
All right. Very well. Cool. All right. Some good books for sure. So I know a couple of them at least. But now I've got something else to go, inquire about.
I have a whole bunch of history books too. I mean, but yeah.
You're going to pass on those. I did that in college, sort of. We'll go into that. I passed. Overall.
Yeah.
Cool. So what is on the creative, finance side, subject to on what is your buy box there? You mentioned quadplexes. What else are you looking at? So folks that are watching might come after you and say, "Hey, I've got this. What are you interested in?"
Well, the first one right now, our buy box is located in Brevard County, Florida, and possibly portions of Orlando.
Okay.
Where my good friend Rick and I are looking for an add value project to do. So if it's a fix and flip, a buy and hold, if it's a raw land where it's beneficial to do a development project on, we can do that.
Okay.
But it's anything in that county that has room for an add value to increase rents. If it's a fix and flip, at least 60 to 63% of ARV minus repairs, 3-2 preferably, more than 1,200 square feet, half acre lot or more, that kind of deal. If it's going to be a land project, at least a minimum 1 acre.
Okay.
Zone for commercial, because we'll probably do more commercial residences. We did one up in Oregon about 2 years ago, where it was 1.5 acres, and it was approved and permitted to go vertical with 6 fourplexes.
Nice.
So we're working on finding another one of those at a deep discount so we can give it another go.
Awesome.
Another one is I am looking for residential multifamilies in the St. Louis, Missouri area. And it could be anything. It could be one of them could be a studio, 2x1, 2x2, 3x2, but mostly fourplexes, residential in that area. I'm personally looking into Northwest Arkansas. So Bentonville, Mountain Home area. Those are really popular. They have a good growth rate of over 1%. So, That's it. I'm mostly working on those fourplexes so I can get to those goals hopefully by the end of the year.
That works. I got a contact for you in St. Louis, so we'll I'll hit you up after that. Good guy.
Awesome. Cool.
Met him before the Dealmaker event in New Jersey, but got to sync up with him there. So cool guy.
Nice. Great.
Yeah. All right, cool. So as we're wrapping this up, how can our listeners reach out to you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I am on Facebook, Instagram. My Facebook is Thomas Fujii, Fujii. On Instagram, it's at Thomas Fujii 1, I think it is. And then on my YouTube, it's at Thomas Fujii 9936. My business website is Property Solution Systems. And if you hit that contact button or contact us and send in your information, we can reach back out to you. You can also send us an email at info@propertysolutionsystems.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, Thomas, really appreciate your time today, and thanks for going live with us. And we'll get the hang of this whole podcast thing. You're up to what now, right?
Yeah. Hey, thank you for allowing me to jump on your podcast, especially going live. Had a great time, and it's an honor to participate on your podcast. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right. Have a great day. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.